A group of 24,000 psychologists in Australia claim children should be allowed to undergo transgender surgery without the consent of their parents, even if both of the child's parents do not consent. The Australian Psychological Society says, quote, the disapproval of both parents should not inhibit a child under 16 from consenting to procedures, end quote. We're talking about kids younger than 16 years old. And we're talking about surgeries that permanently mutilates the perfectly healthy body of a child. Now, when you're younger than 16 years old, you can't go to camp without permission from your parents. You can't get your ears pierced unless your parents sign off on it. You can't go on a field trip at school unless a parent signs a consent form. You can't get a tattoo without a parent accompanying you. You can't even sleep over at a friend's house unless your parents give you the okay. You can't skip school if your parents don't consent. You can't even wear those cut-off jean shorts out of the house without the permission of your mom and dad. And yet, these psychotic liberals masquerading as doctors in Australia want to allow children to undergo major surgery to remove their breasts and staple on an artificial penis, even if both parents say no. Parents, you better ask yourself, what about your rights to determine what's best for your child? What about the science? The science that says 80 to 90% of children with gender dysphoria outgrow the dysphoria by the time they're adults if they do not transition. Are we now stripping the rights of parents to decide what's best for their kids and instead allowing radical leftist activists to give children the power to decide if they want to go under the knife because they're suffering from a mental disorder? Let me put this in a different way. We don't let children under the age of 16 have sex because our society has determined that children under the age of 16 are incapable of giving consent. So how are kids incapable of giving consent to sex, but capable of giving consent to irreversible transgender surgery? If we let liberals take away parents' rights to parent their children and protect their children, where does that end? I think you know the answer to that. And you want to know why I talk about transgender issues so often? Because it's child abuse, and nobody is sticking up for the kids. Because adults in our country, and probably in Australia too, are afraid. They're afraid of the government taking their kid away, like the parents in Cincinnati who lost custody of their daughter because a judge said the young girl should be with people who would facilitate her transition to a man. But here's the secret. People care. The people sitting next to you at work, your feminist running partner, your spouse, the soccer moms you carpool with, the people standing in line at the polling booth to cast their vote, oh, they care about transgender issues, and they agree with me. I'm just the one who has the privilege and therefore the responsibility to have a platform where I can speak about this without fear of retaliation. And so make no mistake, I will keep talking about this, and you should too before it's too late.